Happy Monday morning, everybody. Welcome back to Live on Summer, joined by Coach Dub and Eric Nalin. As always, we're going to talk through the starting lineup, some position battles, all this stuff as we get ready for fall camp to begin. But first, head over to IT. Right now, we're doing a summer sale, which means 50% off for the Ultimate Fan Bundle. Get our board IT, On3, and Rivals all together. Plus, to sweeten the pot, a full year of access to The Athletic. We would love to see you over there. Link in the description down below. Eric, you're in a different spot than usual. What's going on, man?
Oh man, you know what time of year it is. It's Lake Tahoe for a few weeks, and normally all hell breaks loose when I'm out here. But man, it seems like Sark has a pretty good grasp on this recruiting class. Things are. I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as normal. That's famous last words. That just means something else is going to blindside us. But yeah, good to be back out here. But you know, this always signals, hey, once I get back, it's time to go for August.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I remember one of your fun Tahoe moments is you called me and you're like, "Hey, I got big news. You can't tell anybody." I was like, "What?" You're like, "We're going to SEC." I was like, "What?" And then we were filming with you out there.
At the that was when you had first started the channel. Hell, that was even before we were in On3, like a few months before, actually, or a couple months actually. That was a wild time, man. I remember sitting over there in the trees talking about it. I was kind of sitting in disbelief myself.
Yeah, I remember that moment for sure because I was like, "There's no way." All right, Sugar Poppy, he's back in action. He was in trial all last week, so he missed us. Hopefully, you got that W there. I know you did. You're good at lawyering about. Okay, let's talk through the starting lineups, and then this way we can use it as a proxy to talk about position battles and stuff like that. Let's start offense first. I'm not even going to put it on the screen because then they'll just read it immediately and get rid of the starting lineup. But let's go with the obvious here of Arch Manning at quarterback. What have we learned about him and his recovery from whatever the injury was? They feel good about Arch Manning, Texas.
Yeah, I mean they were never worried about it. The only thing if he starts off the season and he's inaccurate again, then everybody's going to wonder, well, what happened? Did the time off hurt him? Is it still fundamental issues that could have been worked on during the offseason? So I hope that's not the case, but they don't seem worried about it. But, accuracy wasn't really an issue until that first game against Ohio State, and then it became the dominant topic for much of the season.
Yeah, and what can you do about it? Even if he does get the yips again, it's like you can't predict it. He doesn't show it in practice. There's really nothing to be done besides that he has to pull himself out of it. So hopefully he gets through it, but it's not really on the coaches if it were to even happen again.
Well, you can't really replicate what's going to happen in the game. Yeah, I don't know. We just never really heard about going into last season, we heard about how accurate he was. And at times we could see him make amazing throws on the button, body contorted, under duress. And then other times when he's got a clean pocket, he can't hit it. So it's psychological, and I don't think that gets fixed in practice. But, again, if he starts off inaccurate, misses an easy cross, if he misses an easy crosser to Wingo against Ohio State, all hell's going to break loose about his fundamentals, the lost offseason, and all kinds of stuff. And, I won't blame anybody for it either because he's got to hit those throws no matter what.
What about Lacey? Feel good about him as the backup if things go sideways?
Yeah, I feel real good about Lacey as a backup. Obviously, he's untested, but these guys got to play at some point. I think he's going to get some playing time this year. They have a tough non-con, but we still should see him in the second half of those games. And every rep is going to be important for him because you never know with Arch's play style, he could get dinged. Arch is a physical guy that brings the head into play, especially if he's not getting out of bounds or sliding. We saw him miss time last year. I mean, there's a reason we talked about Matthew Caldwell so much last year is because we did get to see him. So we're going to get to see Lacey probably a similar amount, and I think he is ready for prime time.
Yeah, good luck, man. Caldwell, money, dude. Money when he comes
right.
We'll see with Lacey. All right, let's talk running back.
We saw just enough of Caldwell for everybody to get excited, but still not really learn entirely about him. So we could project how great he was because he played good in a limited time.
Yeah.
Who knows if it could be the opposite for Lacey. Maybe he plays poor in a little bit in limited time because he doesn't have any experience. But there's the potential that he's much better than he'd show, and he'd get better rapidly if he played more.
And dude, I mean, he was having to survive in the spring game. I mean, he showed those traits that if he is under duress, he can at least keep his head, man. That's
going to be like taking the donut off the bat, right? It's going to feel a lot lighter when he's got actually time to throw. He's got Cam Coleman to throw. He's got Trevor Gooseby blocking for him. He's got a real credible run game. It'd be a whole lot different than what we saw in the spring game.
Sure. Running back. So Brown, unless something happened while I was in Europe, which I don't think because they didn't have spring ball or something while I was gone. But Brown is kind of getting labeled as the big play, big hitter, right? And then Smothers more of tactical, get your design kind of 3 or 4 yards. Is that fair or is that off?
Yeah, I mean, it's fair if you're actually looking for one way to characterize them or differentiate the 2, but,
Yeah.
each guy can do the same role as the other. Smothers has, got plenty of explosiveness, and Ralik will run it in the middle too and try to get what it's there for. Um, I think the only really recent news on that is Smothers has taken on more of a leadership role, and Sark really loves to reward his leaders.
Yep.
There's a bit of a vacuum in that room with the departure of 2 leadership sort of guys and CJ Baxter and Trey Wisner. And new guys aren't going to really come in and just assume that mantle right away. You got to earn it through hard work over the offseason. Now's about the time where Hollywood Smothers feels confident enough that he can rally the troops.
Well, if Sark says leader and it's a running back, Sark loves running back leaders for whatever reason. So
Yeah, so that's actually changing my calculus a little bit on who might
yeah,
get that first carry.
yeah. As soon as he says leader and running back room, you're like, okay, coach, how you feeling about the backs?
You got a phenomenal 1-2 punch, and then you can't forget about the freshman Derek Cooper. Like I think all 3 guys are super explosive, can make people miss and take it the distance at any given time. I think that's going to be the difference between the running backs and what we had last year. Like you just never know who it is, and then when they're on the field together, you don't know who's getting the ball. You don't know who really the key, right? And so you got to really focus on stopping Texas' run game this year, which may get some one-on-one opportunity on the outside with the dangerous threat. So this running game is going to be phenomenal with whoever's back there running back. You just never know.
And the receiving game, like both of those guys can catch screens too. That was an element we also didn't have last year. So
That's
to
a big
have
part of it. That's Texas has backed off of talented running backs in the past in the recruiting trail because of hands, just not being a natural pass catcher. There's a really talented 2028 running back that they're not recruiting hard because of his hands. It's a real thing. So that tells you the opposite. When they do have it, there's a reason they want you to have it. They're going to use them.
yeah. All right, offensive line, the big topic for a year now. Trevor Gooseby, left tackle, great. We're good there. Have fun in the first round. Looking forward to it. Left guard is now interesting because we brought in Seymour, but right here listed, he's not the current starter projection.
I mean, he's a starter projection. That's more like, what it is right now. I do think he's going to start. He's just got to do it. Sark's not going to just come in and you can't just show up and take somebody's starting spot. You'll lose the locker room if you start doing stuff like that. It's a little bit different if it's a guy like Cam Coleman.
Correct.
Like, okay, let's not overthink this here.
Yeah.
But yes, Seymour's got a pretty decent grasp on the playbook so far. They got him up to speed, I think, before he was even on campus. Veteran, moves well. Built more like a D tackle, which I like to hear because that's going to tell you about his athleticism and potentially even physicality. I feel like he's going to start, but I just hate talking about the O-line because even after I get real data in August of this group actually playing together, we're still not going to know because zero sum. We didn't, we had questions about the O-line last year, but we didn't know they were going to be that bad to start.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm kind of going to be in wait and see. You won't see me going out on any limbs and making some crazy proclamations. Now, hold me to that though, because after I hear about a scrimmage report where they do well, I might get a little too excited. You guys are gonna have to, rein me in.
And it's also too, whenever they do that, hey, new guy can't instantly start. You got to see the length it takes him to get to the start because sometimes it's a day. Sometimes it's a day, and so that's what I'm seeing. So if it takes him, 7 weeks to start, then maybe there's more of a battle there. But if they're just doing the kind of performative,
we want to hear early, consistent news, and not a week before. Hey, this guy that's never started before, he was a questionable take to begin with. We've never heard anything positive about him. Not that we heard negative. It's just like he wasn't ready to play, and then all of a sudden he's starting against Ohio State. We want a logical, linear, consistent information flow where we can try to get a pretty good idea of the puzzle.
Yeah, I need a full IT board apology. Whenever a situation happened similar to that last year, I was the negative Nancy on the thread being like, guys, this is not a positive thing. I was immediately called out for not being an offensive line coach and all that stuff too. But I was like, guys, there is no way the board can turn it into a positive. But
that was weird, man. That was a weird one. We're all like, what? Because, it's not like I'd been writing for months. Hey, Connor Stroh's coming on. That's
Yeah, the board was not happy when I was like, this is not a positive development. But
saying anything negative in August is going to get tomatoes.
It's a nightmare. Me and Ian talked about it. Me and Ian were like, look, we need to get our negatives out right now and in July. So we're on the record as being accurate if we are, but they will not hear us in August. So right now they will tolerate it, but August they will not hear any
Bring that
defensive-
one up on the board real quick if you don't mind.
Which the Seymour
Coach Sarcasm.
Awesome.
They still ran the ball very well in Columbus.
I mean, you guys got that too. Yeah, I mean, it's
I don't know.
they ran it as well as Ohio State allowed them to run it. Ohio State came in with a game plan designed to stop the Arch Manning they saw against Mississippi State.
Mhm.
That was their limited understanding of Arch was he was going to chuck bombs, and that's what they backed off the run. They gave too much respect to the run, which didn't really matter because the run game still couldn't hurt them. They didn't really break any big runs. There were runs that probably weren't maximized. It still got decent yardage, but it wasn't like Jonathan Brooks would have maximized them, or probably Hollywood Smothers. So that was, I think I attribute that more to Ohio State's game plan than anything Texas did, because they couldn't run it again very well against anybody else. They didn't run it well against UTEP, you know?
Yeah. And hey, shout out to Paul, because he was breaking down the all 22 immediately, and he was like, the yards per carry are a damn lie. So make sure you always tune in to Paul, because he was able to he got there.
I thought you could see that. I was saying that in the game thread too. You could see that. Like, it's okay, that was 10 yards. Should have gone for 30. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's there. You got to make that move in open space. You got to have that acceleration button. And those guys, you know, Wisner, as great as he is, if you just watch Wisner's highlights against Ohio State or OU, A&M, you know, you would think the guy was Marcus Allen or something, but not so.
He's the rival slayer, dude.
Rival slayer, that's what he is. But I think that's the difference between this year's running backs and last year's running backs. They are, if it's designed for 10, they're going to get 30, 40, whatever the case. I'll be appalling, and we're like, this fool's goal against Ohio State. We couldn't run it when it mattered. 4th and short, goal line, we couldn't run the ball. So that's when it matters. Can you run between the 20s or short yardage? And we couldn't do it, so it didn't really matter.
Center. I think this is going to be an interesting spot for me. It's all about raising the floor of Connor Robertson. I'm not expecting him to turn into a 3rd round NFL draft player. Just don't make costly mistakes, technique good, and then make good calls, man. But more of just a stabilizing force at center is what I'm looking for.
No snap infractions?
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, man, I hope he is that stabilizing force, because this is one spot I'm a little bit worried where, like, if it doesn't play out as well as we all hope, you're going to sit back in hindsight and go, man, they came into this season where they're, favorites to win the national championship. Arch's last year, Collins last year. You just got Cam Coleman, and you let it hinge on a questionable center. I'm not saying he's going to be questionable. He got better as he played last year. He had time in the program, but not time on the field, and there's a difference between the two.
Right.
I'm not saying it's going to be this way. I feel like he's going to be at least average. But it is a concern if he gets bossed on the goal line in some high leverage situations, and in the playoffs. Yeah, everybody's gonna be going, well, yeah, it was Connor Robertson. You didn't play him until his very last year on the worst offensive line we had in a long time. There's a possibility it ends that way. I don't think it's gonna end that way, but it could.
Yeah, and I just don't like that there was any thought, and I haven't heard him say this, but felt like there was thought that he would not return, right? And so I didn't like that aspect, that he could have potentially moved on or whatever to.
Well, yeah, he walked on senior day, right? And then I think we talked about that pondering moment.
Yeah, I had a picture of him like taking it all in, and I was like,
isn't it a soliloquy on the stage when they go off to the corner and the light shines on and they're thinking out loud? He looked like he was thinking out loud about selling insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, but I think that was just more about him. Maybe he didn't think the staff had the belief in him that they did. Maybe he thought, hey, man, I didn't play that great this year. They're going to upgrade me, but they believe in him. And we haven't heard anything negative, and he's a great leader in the room, as you'd expect somebody in that time in the program and playing center.
Yeah.
And I really hope it works out for him. And he upgraded. He was better than Cole Hudson. They went into the season playing the wrong guy. But it's just, it's a different animal when you get in the playoffs. We're not talking about doing well in non-con. We're not even talking about doing well in, average conference foe. We're talking about doing well in the playoffs.
No, that's what it matters.
And then an interesting move that happened this year as well, Brandon Baker to right guard, tackle feet at right guard. What are you thinking there, Coach?
I want to say I can't think who it was, but he wrote that he might be the second best offensive lineman Texas got behind Gooseby when writing about NFL potential. But look, if he continues to get stronger and bigger and can maul people at guard, then he'll work out. I just want to see what he does against some of the bigger defensive linemen that we got faced this season, right? I want to see how he does versus, LSU, like whoever they got, right? When he gets in the playoffs, kind of like the same thing with Robertson. Like, I want to see what he does against bigger guys when we got to get it yards. I think he's agile and can move if he want to pull him or anything else, but can he muddy it up and get dirty and drop people off the football is what I want to see from him. I don't know if he has that mentality. It's just me looking at him, on film or just his personality.
Yeah, I started fading. I started saying, Kyle Flood's probably coming back. When I heard that Baker was going to guard, I'm like, that is the most Flood move of all time.
Yeah.
They're going to have really good pass pro, and then we're going to be wondering about the run game again. He's athletic. I think he's going to be a really good offensive lineman. I think he's going to play in the NFL a long time, but it's early. It's still earlier in his development. And guard is a different animal. You're going up against different body types playing guard than you are at defensive end or at tackle. So strength is more important. So that's going to be the question mark for him.
Right tackle, we bring in Melvin Siani. How has his adjustment been to the Texas Longhorns?
Good, and bringing some of that vocal leadership attitude that you're losing with DJ Campbell. He brings some of that. It's needed. And he only started talking once he started playing better. He wasn't talking earlier in spring. There was a bit of a period where he was acclimating, adjusting to what is a real life SEC defensive line filled with future NFL players. But he adjusted pretty quickly, and they're really excited about him. I'm excited too. That we haven't really seen nastiness on the offensive line with Texas, and you got him next to Brandon Baker, where even if he's got physical intent, he might not be able to play with physicality. They really need to be able to lean on Siani sealing that edge and getting some tough yards to the right.
Thoughts on Siani being the best right tackle of the Sark era?
Yeah, that's probably a good way to look at it.
Christian Jones.
I don't know. Christian Jones last year.
We turned it over last
Christian
year.
Jones. Christian Jones. So Siani can do that though,
Right.
because I think if Siani left after this year, we would probably be talking about a 4th round draft pick, which is where Christian went. But that Christian Jones was decent his second year, and then he was good flat out good. That was Kelvin Banks' sophomore year, right? We were thinking, hey, Christian might have played a little bit better than Kelvin this year.
Yeah. So it would be with Christian Jones. But I still think Siani has that ceiling. We'll have to wait. I like Siani a lot, man.
I would like Cam would have came back this year.
What if his first year is like Christian Jones last year, or in that neighborhood, and then he comes back? That would be ideal.
Yeah, it would. Tight end. So it's the Townsend versus Spencer Shannon debate. So what's going on there between those two guys?
I'm not sure if it's a debate. It's just, they got two sort of different identities in 11 personnel, 12 personnel. And, it seems like Spencer Shannon's definitely one of the guys in 12 personnel. Absolutely. And, but Nick gets a lot of looks in 11 personnel. So, I don't know exactly. We're going to need more details in August. I'm going to say that a lot because that's when we learn a lot about this team. But here, Spencer Shannon is getting a lot of acknowledgement for that leadership role he's taken on. They had a new guy last year in Jack Endries, who was probably underfed on the field. I was watching him against Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. Like, man, this guy's. You just remember how good he was, right?
Yeah.
Was good against Ohio State, quiet season, and then you see him making plays against Michigan again. But Jack was new, and the newer you are, the less likely you are to become an immediate leader. And Shannon's been around the block. The development he made in the spring, I think, has earned a lot of respect. He's stronger, more physical. So Shannon being a leader, I think he's going to play a ton. And then it's just, how do they want to mix and match 12 personnel? They could put Emery with them. They could put Masunis with them. Of course, and Nick can do anything too. So we're still learning about it. But I was asked the other day who's going to lead the team in receptions from tight end. I'm probably going to go Nick Townsend, but mainly on the strength of him, in 11 personnel. I think Shannon's going to play a whole lot this season.
Yeah.
What about Masunis? Has he had a little issue adapting? I would assume he would have been more in the conversation.
Well, we didn't really hear about him blocking, like what you and I got excited about. Remember, we were texting before they got him, and I told you, go watch this guy so we can talk about him when he commits. And you were falling in love, and me too, because you understand the value of that no-name guy that does the dirty work in 12 personnel. Some of that could be a function of who he's going up against. You're not going to make a living going up against Lance Jackson and Colin Simmons.
Yeah, that sucks.
Well, I think, and even Zena. So, I think some of that is the competition. Let's see him going up against, mortals. But he came on. He's another guy that I think had a little acclimation period, played better as spring went on, and started showing, actually surprised some people with his hands. So they're in a good place. And then you got Emery, you don't want to forget, or Amari, you don't want to forget about him.
Yeah.
The best hands at the position, just probably the least physical blocker of the four, but the best hands of the four. So then you're like, all right, well, we're probably going to play him in certain situations and then probably not play him in other situations.
What about the big tight end? I assume he's talking about Masunis and some of that 13 personnel. Have you heard anything about actual like super heavy sets? Because to me, it's like we got wide receivers, man. Like,
yeah, they've
wanna
done
take
it a
him off
little
the
bit.
field.
They've done it a little bit with Masunis, Shannon, and Townsend.
Yep.
But when you do that, that invites bigger personnel from the defense. They feel like they've got an even bigger advantage if they keep their wide receivers, their big wide receivers, sort of in bunch sets and keep the defense in nickel. And then if you try to match up against that with physicality, then you're going to get torched through the air. So it's kind of like it's cat and mouse with how they use their personnel.
Yeah.
So I don't think teams are ready. Like if they do go 13 in the goal line, most teams are not used to bunching up and muddying up and playing, tight. You got to get those corners in tighter. They got to cover a tight end in the red zone. So you see a lot of bootleg action. Like, and Arch is good at that, right? So you think about it's a mismatch with somebody like Townsend or Shannon because he's bigger versus a linebacker when somebody has to go base defense. So they can kind of perfect the 13 personnel like in the red zone. I think that'd be dangerous and score even more points in the red zone.
Yeah. And man, Townsend on that sweep or whatever was a A&M where he just you got to bring that out, man.
That is going to pause. That's going to pause a lot of linebackers next year.
Well, Sark's going to be fake motioning him exactly for that, and then he's going to cut it right up the middle, and then so Sark's going to layer that. That was an awesome play. All right, wide receivers. I'm excited about this group. Right now, we have 3 starters listed in this article, but we'll get into it. Right now, it's Cam Coleman, Wingo, Mosley, but I'm sure there's fun stuff that can happen. Let's talk Cam Coleman. First thing we heard is that he was like actually taking on a leadership role, that he is a hard worker, right? You worry about the 5-star at Auburn and all that. Is he a diva? That doesn't seem to be the case. And then, of course, he has incredible talent. So that's exciting. First things first with Cam.
Yeah, we heard good things about him when Texas was recruiting him. I had to do a lot of background on him because I didn't really know him out of high school. He was committed to A&M and then ended up at Auburn. But he's kind of just a quiet Southern kid and respectful. Like, you can get that kind of maybe a little bit shy at first, but then opens up with the guys. But everybody took to him right away. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that it's because he has that team mindset, wants to come in and win. Put all the other stuff away, aside about the high level recruitment, everybody throwing the kitchen sink at him. At the bottom line is he wants to ball out and maximize, and he has to maximize. To do that, you got to be in Sark's good graces. You got to be in Arch's good graces. You got to work hard. You got to be part of the team, and you got to be part of the offense and fully integrate yourself. And he came here to boost his draft stock, obviously. And he's done everything that you would ask of somebody to do that. He's a willing blocker. I mean, that's the number one thing. We got so excited about some of these guys in the past, and that Adonai at least came along and started blocking, but Bond didn't want to block. Cam is Cam might be the best blocker on the team at the position, and that's counting him at Mosley. So yeah, I'm really excited about Cam. I want to see him. During the game, we all get excited about the bombs, the really great plays, the individual plays, the acrobatics, the go up one hand and all that. But during the week, we get excited about the small stuff, and I want to see him blocking and breaking, helping perimeter runs break, and all the little things.
Yeah, I worry about that fumble in the Iron Bowl. I don't. I remember watching that live, and I was like, I think I tweeted, it's like, it's all good, Cam. Like, come on to Texas, man. I
remember laughing about that and saying, man, I'm glad that wasn't Ryan Wingo, because everybody in the world wants Cam Coleman. But if Ryan Wingo would have done that,
it would have been the end of the world. But yeah, I don't worry about it, man. You remember like when Bijan fumbled versus Tech?
Yeah.
And then we were just like, it's whatever, Bijan. You've done so much for us. Like, it's fine. Like, that's kind of how I feel with Cam, where it's like, it happened. I think he was trying to, if anything, he was trying too hard, which is also
trying to make a play. Bijan was trying to make a play. It's just it's football.
It happens, man. All right, Ryan Wingo, we just brought him up. Wingo, man, Eric, is he going to the next level, man? Is he going vertical? Call it, dude.
Well, I think he is going vertical because he can run under the ball. I don't think that's ever been the issue. We just didn't see enough play action last year because of breakdowns upstream. They couldn't run the ball, couldn't play action, couldn't buy Arch time. They kind of shelved that aspect of it. Arch missed him a time, famously threw it offline. And then we saw him adjust. It wasn't quite a deep ball. We saw him adjust to was it the A&M game? I think he's got the deep ball skills. It's just the softer things that he's more of a straight line guy. In phase in the route, I'm not sure that he's that natural guy that runs a great route, snaps it off, and then the hands are sure. We just haven't really seen that from him. But perimeter, that's got to be a huge part of the offense because that helps everybody else. And then I think the play action is going to be there for him too.
Yeah.
That's going to be a dangerous 12 personnel, him and Cam, because you got to stop the run. You got to worry about the tight ends. And now you got these two running deep crosses, crossing each other up or fake crosses. Like, can you guard both of them? Safeties are going to be confused on who to take.
I was saying, I was like, I don't know if, Wingo's the scariest number one option, but once you start putting him at 2, that's a different thing now, and it's like pairing him with Cam. That's a different proposition for a defensive coach than if Wingo would just, be the sole number one. So
Wingo on overs is going to be really tough, man. That's going to be really tough.
Yeah, and of course, this housing screens is nice. Very low investment for high reward with that stuff.
There are a lot of teams that are soft on the perimeter. We saw it last year. Vanderbilt, as good as they were soft on the perimeter. Florida, they did not work the perimeter enough against them. I can't believe it. Miami killed them on the perimeter. There are teams that are more susceptible in certain places, and if that's a cheat code. If you see a team that the corners don't want to tackle, the safeties are a little slow getting over. Yeah, that's Ryan Wingo's game right there.
And then in the slot, right here, we have Emmett Mosley. What's going on?
Dalen McCutcheon, yeah. Charlie's about to throw it, probably say something for Dalen. I always say something for Dalen too, because there's going to be some competition there. But we it's been few and far between where we have Emmett perfectly healthy and we get to hear about him. And right now we're in one of those few portions. Hopefully it stays that way. He looks really good, moving really good. He might not have the speed of some other guys, but he's a really athletic guy with the way he moves, change of direction, that sort of thing.
Skill.
Skill. Yeah, he's it's almost like if you could just merge him with Wingo, you would have a guy that's obviously top 10 pick.
Yeah.
But good player, and then of course he brings the element of blocking and versatility, mainly in the slot, almost entirely in the slot right now, but also working some outside. That's probably more for just depth or if he's out there in 12 personnel. But yeah, going to be a good player. Just got to keep him healthy, and then they got options behind him too.
And then people, of course, go ahead, Coach.
I was just going to say, you think about outside zone, you got him in the slot. You got the little push crack block. He gets up on the safety. That safety is not having a chance, though. He can spring guys open because he's a physical blocker, right? So I can see why he starts. Like, he can do pretty much everything. He runs good routes, has good hands, and he does a good job sitting soft in the zone, right? So the quarterback can find him. We saw it versus Georgia, right? He almost took one to the house because he got a good relation with Arch. So I can see why he would start because he can kind of do it all. He's a veteran. I mean, he's played a lot of football.
Right, for the older guys, we could talk. You say Roy is Cam and BJ is Wingo. Sloan Thomas right here, man. You got Sloan Thomas with Emmett. So I think he's going to be underappreciated until he has a couple big games, and then he's going to benefit from the coverage going to the other guys too.
Absolutely, yeah. Until he catches a game winner at Mississippi State. All right, and then I think people are talking about defensive back Jermaine Bishop at the wide receiver position. Very weird.
Yeah, why are we talking about Jermaine Bishop when we're talking about offense here? It's out of place.
He's clearly DB, so
I can't wait to see what they do with him in August. I don't think it's time. I don't think they need Travis Hunter on this roster. It's a whole lot. You got different considerations at Texas than you do at Colorado.
Right.
But Bishop is entirely 100% on defense right now. He's in the defensive rooms. He's, running, lifting with the defense. So obviously they like what they saw. If he was still on offense, it would tell you that, all right, he's, they don't feel super comfortable with him yet. The fact that they're tinkering with him on defense right now tells you that they really like what they saw in the spring, and they know that they can throw him right back into the fire over there when they need to.
Yeah, and this is because Bishop wants this, right? He wants to be a both sides player.
Yeah, he loves defense. He doesn't want to come off the field. That's what we always heard about him, just a pure football player. So
how does he look? How does he look on defense?
He looks damn good. He looks like a receiver. He's a stud.
Sheesh. Yeah, man.
He can obviously play it. Super athletic. This is why I love him so much at receivers, because he got corner athlete. The best athletes in the NFL are corner, but then he's got the wide receiver skill. So you rarely ever see that. That's why I was so high on Jalen Waddle, is because he had corner athlete, but wide receiver skill. And that's why I've been comparing him to Jalen Waddle. It's compare him to other. There's so many receivers that can't play. Like somebody just mentioned, Jordan Whittington. What I loved about Whittington was he had elite safety athleticism. But when you talk about corner athlete, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, but we're so deep at corner. It's such a weird, like, I could get it if we were hurting there, but it's like we look good at corner too.
I think it's
So
a play towards 2027, and also just maybe getting him some novelty reps over there. Just enough so they could say, "Oh, he's two-way." It boosts his profile. It's good for him. It's good for the team. It creates excitement. It's good for recruiting. The next Jermaine Bishop is out there somewhere. And so you don't really hurt anything, But yeah, you got to get Samari Matthews. He's got to get his reps because he earned them. He's good. You still got Warren Roberson's got to play. Kobe Black's got to play. Cade Phillips, Bo Masco. But I think this is more about 2027 and probably long term, giving him novelty reps on defense and real reps on offense.
all right. Did we miss anyone on offense?
I mean, there's a lot of guys we've been writing about that, you can always talk. Khalil Lockett's back practicing.
Nice.
That's good. Chris Stewart looks good. With Jermaine Bishop playing defense, Chris Stewart is getting more reps on offense. He missed a little bit of time in spring, and he's impressing. We talk about the linebackers, the 3 linebacker class. They feel like they hit on the 3 wide receiver class too.
Nice. And we're actually about to talk about that defense. But before we do that, let's hear a word from our man, Andre the Lawyer.
Texans know when you're injured, there's one name that gets results. Andre the Lawyer. Trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans win their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Don't let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Andre the Lawyer will fight for you. His principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait. Call 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. Contact info is in the description.
All right. Let's talk defense. We're going to start with defensive end. We're going to talk not even Colin Simmons. We're going to talk about my man, Lance Jackson, who's going to light college football on fire. All joking aside, I'm ready for a breakout from him, man. He's super special. To me, I comp him to like Braylon Trice for Washington. Just like that big, but he has the speed moves too. I mean, just a freaky player that is under the radar college football wise, but I think this year he can really, really show out.
Yeah, he's only under the radar because of reps. Ethan Burke played a ton last year, and the reps we saw were exciting. He's gonna he. There's a lot of plays he could have finished last year. He helped create, but he didn't quite finish.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna see him finish a lot more of those plays, and then you're gonna see his profile raise considerably. He's bigger, stronger, faster, somehow a little bit leaner. Just a genetic marvel. One of the hardest workers on the team, one of the biggest beasts in the weight room, one of the best football mentalities, selfless guy. We all saw how he committed just kind of out of nowhere. Hey, I'm a horn now or whatever. It's like, that's how he works.
Dog. That's what you need. Yeah. Somebody, who was it? I think it was Film Guy, but it was funny. I can't remember who it was, but they were like, you know what? He reminds me a lot of Landon Jackson. He was like, they have a lot of similarities. I was like, yeah, they do. Like their address, their mother and father.
Yeah, they share a lot in common.
Yeah, they have a lot in common. But excited for him. And then of course, Colin Simmons in the Muschamp world. We were worried, hey, there's Mint. Is Colin going to be able to be on the edge? And then we had the interview. We had coach availability. Muschamp was just like, we got to put him everywhere, which they can do. That Jalen Walker type stuff they can do with him. They can put him at off ball, let him chase people. He can get picks, like dropping into the flats. So he's the ultimate weapon, and he's a psychopath too. So he's awesome, man.
DK did a couple weird things with him. It was very infrequent, but every once in a while, I think we saw him at Micah time or two, and we're like, what the hell, man? This guy it doesn't matter where you put him.
Yeah.
It makes it fun for him. It makes it fun for the coaches to create the stuff, and then it makes it confusing for the quarterback. So, nothing but wins there. Colin, remember he had that one practice, had like 6 sacks in practice, and their times Sark just wouldn't play him so the offense could get work. And he might be the best player in college football next year. He won't win the Heisman because he plays defense, but there's a decent chance, a pretty strong chance he'll be the best defensive player or the best player in college football next year.
Yeah,
I can't put it. We don't show like after the play on all 22 because there's nothing to value. But Colin Simmons talks noise after every single play. Someone on the board asked who the biggest trash talkers were, and everybody was getting it wrong. I was like, if you watch the tape, it's Colin Simmons, and sometimes it's subtle, but he is constantly helmet to helmet with some running back or quarterback just mouthing constantly. He's nuts in all the right ways, man. Like,
most guys don't talk much because Sark's not a big fan of that, but nobody's gonna tell Colin.
Colin Simmons is a little bit different thing.
You can't go into South Dallas, beat LSU out for this guy, because even though he's like, man, I kind of feel more comfortable at LSU, and then bring him to Texas and make him wear a tuxedo out there. You got to let him be himself.
Exactly. And you don't even want to overcoach him, because he does like an average player. You're like, you cannot do that, Colin. Like, that's not technically sound. But then he just like transports around people, so you can't even coach him like a normal player, because he can do all this stuff that normal players cannot do.
It's been a lot of fun to see the NFL evaluators once they focus so much on the guys that are coming out for the draft. They don't really know anything about college football.
Yep.
They just know the athletes. It's kind of like me in high school. People are like, who won between DeSoto? I have no clue who won, man.
Yeah.
I'm watching football players.
Yeah.
But they're all getting caught up on stuff, and a number of them are like, my God, Colin Simmons, what is going on here?
Yep. Yeah, they're starting to do the cut ups of him and all that stuff too. Over under on Colin Simmons sounds bites between now and draft. That's why I love him too, man. On the mic, dude. He is so intense, dude. And he's just hilarious. The confidence he has, the ability to back it up. He's just a unique human being. I'm glad that Colin Simmons exists, period, even away from football. He's just fun, man.
They need to mic him up during fall camp practice, man. They got to give us one. And mic him up and see what he says.
Dude, he's always saying something, man. And he can back it up, dude. All right.
I can just see the big offensive lineman just like, man, shut up. Like, Goosby's so well-natured and stuff. Like, man, why are you giving me the business?
Yeah. He's it's so unfair, because my whole thing, I was like, well, you got to jump set him. It's the only thing you can do. You got to run right at him. And then I would see the play where they try to jump set him and he just lays him. There's really not an answer for him. It's frustrating. All right, and then let's look more in the depth too, man. Zena is a player I've been super excited about. I was bummed when he could potentially have left, because to me, it's like he's a huge key contributor, NFL player. So to have Zena back, I think it was one of the highlights of the offseason for me.
Me too. I'm huge on Zena. It was I had pretty good insight on the eval of him in high school. Some of the schools, a lot of schools kind of backed off on him for some reason. He when he burst on the scene in high school, like as a sophomore, maybe even earlier than that, people were thinking maybe potential 5-star. And for whatever reason, his star fell a little bit. And some people thought he was a reach for Texas. Texas, like, no, we love him. And I was like, well, the question I've only heard about him is physicality. Like, no, he's physical enough. And then I saw his neck, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's gonna get huge.
He was so skinny though at that camp, but you just had to look for the other traits, because
you look for, it's like they measure wrists and stuff. Like
it's like dogs and paws. Like whenever you see him as a puppy, you're like, look at the paws. I
tell these young recruits, I say, when these coaches are shaking your hand, they're not shaking your hand, they're measuring your hand.
Yeah.
They're trying to see how big your hand is, and but you see the neck, and you're like, oh, okay, never mind. This is where this is going. He's got good physicality. He's quick off the ball. He bends well. He plays the run. He's complete, man. Just, he's had the sort of bad timing in that, he's had Barron Sorrell and Ethan Burke and now Lance Jackson. He's going to play a ton this year. And, I don't, how much time does he have left? He still has like 2 years.
2 years, I'm going to say, yeah.
Yeah, 2 years. So, a year without Colin, maybe they retool the defense a little bit.
Yeah.
To get Lance on one side and Zena on the other.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for that prospect. All right, who else in the edge room you guys want to talk about? Justice Terry on the flex. You have young Richard Wesley.
I was going to say, Richard Wesley.
Yeah.
For a young dude, dog, I'm just saying, I think he has the right stuff. Like you talk about, Lance's first round, like Richard Wesley, I think has a chance to be that in that same conversation when it's all said and done. He got a lot of power. Like, a lot of raw tools that he has already kind of put together. Like, he's more skilled coming in as a freshman than most people are, for a guy his age, man. I think he has a chance to be like one of the great ones when he leaves Texas as well. He's so mature at the same time. He's not going to be a key you got to worry about off the field. Like, he pays attention, watches film, does his homework, and he studies. Like, you don't hear that much from 16, I guess he's 17-year-olds now. Like, it's just he's a different kind of kid.
Yeah, when I heard they were going after a reclassified guy that was young, I just started rolling my eye. I'm like, oh, come on, man, that's a waste of money.
Yep.
Then I watched the tape. I'm like, holy crap, this guy's how old? And he acts that, he's very mature in the locker room, but also a really fun guy to be around. I think these guys they're all from Texas and the South. They like it when a few California guys get sprinkled in because it is a different personality. But I'm also hearing about Jamarian Carlton as well, and he's hosting people on visits. That's a really good sign.
Yeah.
He's a dog. Both him and Richard Wesley are dogs, and Smith the Rogbo's asked about here. He's getting bigger and stronger in the gym. Hearing good things about him as well. That's the guy where if they didn't want to retool the offense or the defense next year and just keep it similar to how they have it with Colin, he's your guy there. So he's good, and they coach him very hard, which tells me that they see a lot of promise in him, and probably for this season. So I think he's going to play behind Colin a lot.
Yeah, second fastest first step behind Colin from the tape last year. So that was a big factor. What you said about Wesley studying tape, hey, man, those edges are like wide receivers. They're going one-on-one with elite big tackle athletes, man. You got to study tape because really offensive linemen have like 2 or 3 things they can do. And if you learn that quick enough, man, you can win those one-on-ones. So I'm excited to hear that. Let's talk on the interior. Our man, Hero Kanu, who has become a spokesman. He's fun on the mic with his accent and everything. He's become a big brand ambassador. He's like the World Cup people, whenever they come there, he's like, barbecue, great, love it. So he's
who knew the locker room was missing Germans?
I know. Who would have thought? And he's been a lot of fun, and he's good. So let's talk.
He's one of those transfers that came in and did a good job of becoming a leader. One of Becton's favorite guys. Becton played a big part in him. I'm not sure how serious he thought about leaving, but Becton made it really easy for him to come back. They've got a good relationship, hard worker, and really good athlete too. We saw him he's got a little swim move and quick feet, bends well. I think he can have a pretty good breakout, maybe second, third rounder even.
Good. All right. And then Alex January, his time has come, huh?
Yeah, he's still young. I think he's only 19 still.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So this is the time of year where you start getting on NFL radars, and then hopefully he blow up as a senior. I think that's the sort of the trend line that he's on. Athletic for his size. He's he can play both. He can play anything in the interior D line that you're asking for. Could probably even play 4-eye in a heavier set. And good player. And I put him down in that article. I said, they could mix and match and maybe have Ian Gaffard out there starting. Or, if they're in a 3-man front, maybe January's not a starter because you got Kanu, Gaffard, and Lance Jackson, or whatever. There's different ways that he can be a starter or not be a starter, but he's going to play an absolute lot. And I'm expecting him to make some noise. And then I do think he's going to be on a lot of NFL radars, midway through the season.
Was it Gaffard that was manhandling fools in the spring game, right?
Yeah,
he looked awesome. Because at Arkansas, he was kind of that big nose that survive him for 10 plays and he's going to be tired. He looks faster and sharper too. I think Becton and Pauline always make this point. If you give them a big, slightly out of shape athlete, they will turn him into something dynamic. It doesn't always go the opposite way, but for that specific thing, he looked awesome in the spring game. Also made me nervous about centers, but he looked awesome in that spring game showing. I think
he wants to play 60 snaps here at Texas. Right? We don't need him to, so that's the key. He'll stay fresh the entire game.
Yeah,
he played a lot. He played a lot of snaps last year. It's not going to be the same for him this season.
Yeah.
And it's mentioned in here the 2023 D line. Those guys all made each other better because they all kept each other fresh. They were 6 deep that year. They're going to be 6 deep this year too.
Yeah, interior D line, and then that's just something that. That room's just been really solid for us. I think we've taken it for granted. We almost don't even talk about it enough because we're so used to its success. But Kenny Baker, man, he's done a wonderful job.
They found the weird equilibrium right now where they don't have to spend. It's hard to find an elite D tackle in the portal, but they've mixed and matched them so well, and they've been so deep that they do keep each other fresh. And then you had development. Vernon Broughton got developed and finally had the year I've been waiting for. And Alfred Collins played really well. And then they've mixed and matched with guys that were maybe a little unheralded, but still came in and became solid contributors at minimum. And then they benefit from having a lot of talent around them too.
Yeah. Next up, linebacker. The one room that I have more questions about than the other rooms on the defense. But let's talk Rasheem Biles. I'm a Rasheem Biles truther. I think he's awesome. I think he's going to make all these highlight plays. Really excited for him. And he's at the will spot, which makes sense for his build and skill set. And he can cover like a safety, man. And I think he did play safety at some point. He can flip his hip. He looks natural, man, like back there. He's an impressive talent, man.
You saw him in the spring game. I don't think he was unblockable. Like the well-timed coming from depth, like they knew he was coming, still couldn't stop him, right? You saw him just swim moving and getting by people. And then he, like you just said, he can drop back in coverage. He can play the run, play the whole shot or the seam in cover two. Like he can do it all. We saw that at Pitt. Then he got an interception and took it back to the house. So, man, look, that's the guy that can do it all. Muschamp is going to line him up everywhere.
Yeah, Gaffard's going to be his best friend because that's going to make it easier to blitz. And he is a blur blitzing. He's going to make a lot of spectacular linebacker plays. And you don't always see that. You know, some of those good linebacker plays that they get the attaboys for was a 3-yard run that they did a good job getting off a block. We'll see if he can do that, but we know he's going to make the spectacular plays.
He does the teleporting thing. He's a side tackler. You know, he doesn't just run up in the hole and meet guys, but he lets them he sticks his arm out and then he lets him hit it in like a clothesline. Then he wraps onto him. But what people don't get is his intelligence because his timing is really good. Those interceptions, those sacks, the fumbles he's able to cause. He's not just running full speed ahead like he's just purely going off of instinct. He's smart and he times things well too. So he has an understanding of the game that I think you wouldn't always notice unless you watch the All-22. So really excited about Rasheem Biles. We just got to see what happens on 3rd and 1, and they got to get a yard. Next up is the Mike position. This is the one I have more questions about. And right here we have Juice Cryer or Ty Anthony Smith. What are we thinking of?
I mean, Ty Anthony's got the advantage of being in the program so long, but Juice has more familiarity with the playbook and being on the field because Ty missed the spring. They're so different. They're so different. I just think, obviously they'll, one will start and one will back them up, pretty much no matter what. But I think that one is going to play more against certain teams and one will play more against others. You can mix and match them. If they're throwing the ball around and you need to clamp down in open space behind you, it's probably going to be Ty Smith. If they're running on you a little bit, it's probably going to be Juice Cryer. If they got a really good running back that you need to track out of the backfield, that's probably going to be Ty Smith. So you can mix and match them. But, there's no concerns about Ty's weight. And there's really no concerns about Cryer's athletic limitations because they think they can shield him. They don't ask a whole lot of him. That famous play, famous for us because we pay attention so closely in the spring game. Yeah, I had somebody ask. You mentioned like, man, I didn't see that all spring. He's, he
climbed the ladder.
I was surprised they even asked him to do that. So, but this sometimes you just have to trust the coaches, especially a guy like Muschamp, who he's maniacal about making sure he doesn't have any holes in his defense. They feel good about Cryer. I'm going to feel good about Cryer.
But was that listing of Ty Anthony Smith accurate at like 221 or something like that? Is that accurate?
I think he's about 215.
Okay, all right. Yeah, all right. Well, you gotta be fast. That's all I gotta say. You gotta be
tough and physical. Now, sometimes the science of it catches up to you. If a 320-pound guard latches onto him, I don't care how much East Texas he has in him.
Physics wins those.
Yeah, he needs to have Lance Jackson East Texas in him and be 275 pounds. But Ty's a dog. The problem is that size is you can wear down a little faster. But that's why I think they're going to mix and match him a lot. And then we get asked about Rocky Cummings. I don't know how much he's going to play this year, just because you've got Juice, you got Ty Anthony, you've got Brad Spence can play there as well, and they might be trying to highlight Brad a little bit for the NFL if he's not going to be a liability out there. But Cummings is going to play a ton, and there's a decent chance he's your starter after a year.
He had an excellent blitz in the spring game.
He did.
He looked good. And then, of course, Atkinson. I don't think we talked to him. What's going on there?
Yeah, he's good. He's it's just I think everybody's kind of expecting big things out of him already. He doesn't get talked about quite as much, but pro mindset, watch his film, all those things, and then obviously athletic.
Yeah, that was the easiest recruitment I had ever tracked. Because there were like questions back and forth, like, will it be Texas? I'm like, go watch that dude's YouTube channel. It's like he's in Austin at the Airbnbs. He likes to get green juices. You know, I'm like, this doesn't exist. Like, you can't live this lifestyle in Alabama. I was like, there's one. He can go to USC or he can go to Texas. I'm like, this guy likes to live like a pro. I didn't need any information. I was like, just watch the YouTube channel. So glad he was there. All right, let's talk secondary.
Oh yeah.
This room has been fun because we've been talking the mix of Cade, of Masco, huge addition, by the way. That was awesome. And then Grayson Littleton, where are they going to end up? But right here we have Bo Masco at corner, Littleton staying at star, and then likely Cade at the other corner spot. Great.
Yep, should be really good there. Cade or Kobe. Kobe had a good spring. I don't know what else to say there. Masco had a massive spring. Littleton gets coached up really hard with Muschamp as basically the Nichols coach. They feel good there. I think they like the fact that he's got experience. They've got decent backups there. Xavier Filsame's worked there. Wardell Mack, of course. And then the other corner, Cade and Kobe. I think that's still a bit of a competition. Cade is just such a natural mover, and Kobe's a good athlete. Don't get me wrong, and Kobe's done really well to stay in cornerback shape. Yeah. His body could go in a different direction if he doesn't get careful, if he's not careful. And he is a good athlete, but Cade's a corner athlete, man, all the way, like a guy that'll blow up the combine corner athlete, and then he's got the length on top of it. So Kobe doesn't really have that one advantage he would have over a lot of corners because Cade is long too. Kobe is a little more physical though, because Kobe's a damn physical cornerback. So he does have that over Cade, but Cade will strike you. So just maybe lacking just a little bit of experience at corner and nickel, maybe just a little bit, but the talent is certainly there and the depth is certainly there.
Yeah, and if we go a lot of man match stuff, it's just, hey, let's see who's the athlete. Because even when he got beat on that Georgia ball, it's like that was just a great thrown ball. Like he was still in good position for a young corner, And
Warren Roberson too is another guy that needs to be mentioned. He's going to play a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, when he carried that over route versus A&M, I was like, I totally get why the coaches are all in on him. He's awesome when you have a young
rival column for the most person who talks the most trash. Like Warren he'll get out there and talk trash too, right? So I love Warren. I love his mentality, man.
It's always the dogs. And where's he from?
Red Oak. Yeah. South Dallas. You can call it South Dallas. Like, he's a little different, man.
Yeah. I love that room, man. All right. Safety. Someone starts off. Safety depth worries me. This is my second biggest room on the defense besides linebacker, and it's not because of the top end. It's just after you get done with the two starters, especially in years past when safety was super deep. That's my only question is what happens if, God forbid, something happens to the starters, even though I really like the athletic profile of the two starters, which would be Derek Williams, Jelani McDonald.
There's a path to feel a lot better about the depth by the third week of August. Jonah's healthy and he's doing well. Xavier, you could tell that, Muschamp and Gideon have got him right. Jordan Johnson-Rebel picking off passes, like he's not a liability in coverage at all. And there's Kobe Black is getting reps there, and at minimum he's the fail-safe. So there's a lot of paths to feel a lot better about it. We're not there yet, so we'll see how August goes. I'm not super worried myself. I do think that a lot of those younger guys are going to play earlier in the season. Gideon likes to rotate more than Akina. We saw a lot of rotation the previous 2 years before Akina's last year, where he didn't really rotate unless he had injuries, so he kind of had to play more guys. But I'm not super worried about depth. I understand why others are, but those guys are coming along. It's time to play. It's Jordan Johnson-Rebel's time to play. He looked good when he did play. I thought he should have played more last year. But again, Akina's going with, Jordan Johnson-Rebel doesn't look like any of the NFL guys I had, but Xavier Filsame's over here running a 4.3. All right, well, Jordan Johnson-Rebel would have dropped that Vanderbilt dude on the 2-yard line,
Correct. So, safety is much more than your combine skills.
Yeah.
Also, Akina hurt us because he didn't rep guys enough, and so we didn't get the development we wanted out of that year for the younger guys too. But problem solved now. Whatever.
Yeah, Jonah's limited right now. Blake Bryan asks. Jonah's about the only guy that's limited.
Okay, that's good.
Once you see these young guys get out there and play, I think you're gonna be I think you'd be surprised. I like Eric's guy from Colorado, Torrey Davis. Like, he's a phenomenal player. Like, people see him out there. He has high IQ. It looks like a corner, but he actually happens to play safety. Like, that's another young kid. Once he gets out there and you see him playing, it's like, okay, we do have depth. You just haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, Torrey's going to be good. And, Torrey could play some this year.
Special teams, not kicking because we will never vouch for them until the game happens. But kick return, punt return, how are we looking there?
Well, obviously going to put your All-American at punt return and leave him there.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by him getting another 2. You know, got a lot of the same guys in front of him too, and that's big, being on the same page with the blockers, being on the same page with the coordinator, because Banks is a real life coordinator. He coordinates. It's not just, all right, you know, go back there, get your guy, stay in your lane and return it. You know, it's not like that. He's scheming it up.
Yeah.
Kick returner is interesting. Oh, there's a giant bluebird on my window here. Kick return is, I think you can see Raleek Brown there. I'm not certain. Niblett might have competition there. Raleek got looks there. It could have just been, you know, let's see if we can go to him if something's wrong with Niblett. But, you know, Niblett's a better punt returner than he was a kick returner. His average was actually higher on punt returns than it was on kick. And Raleek, I think that running back vision helps that position a lot. So I think that, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by seeing Raleek. And with Raleek, you know, you're trying to get him NFL looks too, right? You want to increase his value as much as possible. Niblett's got 2 more years.
That's a good point. All right. We got through the Texas Longhorns. It's pretty nice. Recruiting has heated up significantly, and we'll go fast here, but recruiting I was expecting a little bit more relaxation on the recruiting front, but it's been heating up quick. So what's going on? Any RPMs you guys want to talk about? Any big names that we need to keep an eye on, or any names at all? Coach Dub, take it away, man.
Yo, look, there's a few RPMs out there. I know we got Caleb Solid, who announces today. Still trying to figure out what time he announces. But look, Texas has been on the heater. They've been more aggressive. I don't know if you want to insert Will Muschamp into that as the change of mentality in recruiting, but they're getting the guys they want. They're not waiting and trying to flip anybody in December or slow play them, right? Like, if they want a guy, they're going after and they're getting him. Still Alan Clark finish. We got Camp Hall, right? You just got Chicken grow Jabarius Chicken grow out of Alabama. You stole him from Auburn. And so many kids, you know, and play here. I think I got an RPM for John Meredith, #1 corner in the nation, right? So, yeah, man, when you've been on vacation, Homer, man, you missed a lot. But,
I know, normally nothing was supposed to happen, and then all this recruiting stuff.
No, man, look, Texas has picked up in recruiting, man. Look, they're closing. They're getting guys commit earlier than we have.
I was saying that's a philosophical. That's a philosophical change too. So
yeah.
Well, I think a lot of other schools are getting aggressive too. They're trying to get guys locked up earlier, and then that forces Texas to get guys locked up earlier. I think Sark wants a more relaxed July, and I'm here for it. I do appreciate it. I personally appreciate that. But I put in an RPM for Junior Tuipo from Alabama late last night. That's another one over Auburn and Florida State and some others. He's Auburn was treating him like a 5-star. Great versatility. You know, he's a credible cornerback. He could play cornerback in college without a doubt. But then he's going to keep growing. He's got ball skills, cornerback ball skills, coverage skills, and then you just put him in safety and let him go. I'm really excited about that guy. Montre Jackson announces on the 26th. Somebody's announcing the 19th. Izzy Hammonds, linebacker Izzy Hammonds. They got to figure out the linebacker board. That's the one question mark right now is linebacker board. One of the biggest developments right now is they're credibly in it for Landon Williams-Callis, running back. And so if you get LWC and you get Noah Roberts, that's about as good as it gets. And you know, wide receiver, they'll be done with that pretty soon. Outside of hosting Munshun sales, that might be just hang around the rim on Munshun, see if things get really interesting. But yeah, they're in a really good spot. I know everybody's waiting on offensive tackle. They're in a good spot with Seiler, who announces today. Brian Swanson, we feel good about that. Yeah. And then Ishmael Kamara, everybody's worried about him. At Inside Texas, we feel good about Ishmael Kamara. So I love where recruiting is.
Yeah.
But there's, I'm not sure the goal is to get the #1 class, but as I wrote last week, you don't have to have the #1 class because, the bottom 66% doesn't matter as much. But you still have to have that top 33% that's as competitive as that #1 class in the country. And that's where Texas is headed for.
Yeah. Also the strategy too of like, we got a big class. And then if you didn't deliver in a year, we kind of let you go. So too, it's like, expect those elite guys that they can get moving early. But hey, this is fun, man. We don't have to wait till December to talk recruiting. So that's a big difference.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what you're going to talk about.
I'm not commitments either, which is good because I'm 0 for 1 on those, man. No, I'm 1-1 because I got turn time last year. But other than that, yeah, stay away from 4th of July commitments, please.
I did not love those either, man. All right, everyone, head over to Inside Texas right now. Summer sale, 50% off. You'll get IT On 3 and Rivals all together. Link in the description down below. You just heard us. Recruiting is heating up, and our guys are writing stuff on the daily. Everyone stay logged. We have a baseball game that will be occurring versus Alabama, and Court's going to do a live watch along, so make sure you can go hang out in the chat with him. His record's not great. I'm going to warn you right now on watch alongs, and Texas has to win this. So if let's see if the Cord curse continues. Hopefully not.
This might decide whether or not we should have him watch along for the Ohio State game.
Yeah, exactly. It might just be like,
this is not only a big game for Texas baseball, it's a big game for Cord.
It's a big game for Cord, our watch along, so he doesn't curse us during football season. Everyone, stay tuned in for all the content coming at you today, and have a good one. See you later.